Hello everybody, I am going to try to get my comments up here, and I'm actually still looking for the right ribbon for my project because I have misplaced, there we go, this is the ribbon I wanted. It's just so pretty, how can you not? And I'm all crooked here too. Let's get me uncrooked. There we go. All right, so the reason I'm going live on a Sunday, can anybody guess? I know Sue and Corey are watching, and they know me very well. Why am I going live on a Sunday? Da, da, da. I'll give you a hint. Classic Steph. I forgot that yesterday was Saturday. I was sitting there, and it was like 7 o'clock at night, and I went, oh my gosh, it's Saturday. I was supposed to go live, and I forgot. So I'm going live today instead. And I've got a blank piece of paper here. Oh darn, Corey. That sucks. Well, hopefully you'll catch the basics, and if not, I'm going to repost the replay because we're going to have a bit of a geometry lesson. Now, I was the super nerdy kid who loved math, especially geometry. I remember when we learned Pythagoras' theorem, I was babysitting, and the dad, who was a friend of my family's, was there, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? When they came back. And I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God, we learned this thing and it's awesome. And he looked at me like I was crazy. Anyways, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how I make my boxes. Now, I know I don't do boxes a lot. I actually make them more and then don't show them than I actually make them. So anyways, and boxes can be very challenging for people. They're like, oh, what size do I have to cut the paper? Oh, where do I have to score? Things like that. So if you know me, I don't like to tell you how to do things. I like to tell you how to figure out how to do things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a cube, because that's basically all of your boxes are going to be a cube. And this is very reminiscent of my dad. He draws these little plans and stuff. So there's our little cube. So we need to know what size we want it. You're limited by your paper, but you also want to make it fit whatever you want to put in. So for this one, I'm going to make it really easy on myself. I'm going to do a 3 by 3 by 3 inch cube. You with me? Now, when you take a cube apart and lay it flat, this is the shape you get. You get a square attached to a square, attached to another square, attached to another square, with 2 squares hanging off the side. Now, with our box, we actually don't want it to be a box. We want it to, it's a box, but it has an open top. So we're going to get rid of one of those. So see how we just have these 5 squares attached to each other, and these squares are empty if you're looking at it like a tic-tac-toe board. So what we're going to do is, seeing as all of our sides are 3, see how I made this easier on us? It's going to be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So it's going to have to be 3, but plus 3 plus 3, so 9. And then in the other direction, it's 3 plus 3 plus 3. So I need a 9 by 9 piece of paper for the main box. And then I'm just going to score it at 3 inches on all sides. Still with me? All right. The lid for this is going to be super easy too, because it's just another box that's open, this time just on the bottom. So when we do that box, I only want it to be, I don't want it to be the full side. So this is going to be 3 and a bit, 3 and a bit, 3 and a bit, 3 and a bit. And then I want it to go down about an inch. So I want 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. So when I go across, I'm going to go 1 inch plus 3 and a bit, so 4 and a bit, plus 1 inch is 5 and a bit, and you'll see what I mean by a bit. And then the same in the other direction. Makes sense? So we're going to do, the bottom is going to be 9 by 9. Scored at 3s because these are all 3 deep. And then our lid is going to be 5 and a bit by 5 and a bit, scored at 1s. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Hopefully we can still see it. And now I'm going to bring in my paper. Now, if you're using designer series paper, you want to use heavy designer series paper, not the regular stuff, because you need something that's going to have some structure to it. So I'm actually using the Noble Peacock specialty designer series paper because it's got a bit more heft to it. You can use just regular cardstock, but you want to use something heavier than your regular designer series paper. So I'm going to do 9 by 9. Now this is a 12 by 12 sheet, so I'm just cutting 3 inches off because I can't actually measure 9. You can, but I broke my trimmer years ago, so I can't. And I can't wait until the new trimmer comes out, which apparently is very soon. Okay, so now I've got a 9 by 9 piece and I want to score it. Now I want to score the side I'm going to fold so that the bump goes away from me. Does that make sense? So I want to score while I'm looking at the part that I want outside. And you can use any score tool you've got for this or any trimmer. I'm just using my Stampin' Up! One because it's what I have on hand. So I'm just doing 3 inches all the way around. Oh, this isn't Jeopardy. I don't know what is. I need a theme song to fill in the white space or the empty space when I'm doing things like this where I'm thinking. Okay, so there is the bottom of my box, and then the top of my box I'm going to do in Pretty Peacock to coordinate. So 5 and a bit, remember we were doing? I don't want to do it exactly to 5 because if I score that, it's going to be exactly the same size as the box. So I want to give it just a little bit extra. And I am actually just going to take it to the measurement that is the 16th there. So I'm actually doing 5 and a 16th just because it happens to work out with this one. Alrighty, and then I'm going to score this all at 1 inch. So my main part, my middle part is actually going to be just ever so slightly bigger than just the 3 inches. Alrighty, now I can get rid of my trimmer. And I'm going to build my lid actually first, so you can kind of see how this all goes together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all around these ends so that I can fold them in. There we go. So now when I go to fold these, and I can take my bone folder, which did you notice my bone folder is engraved? I just got a laser engraver, so I've been engraving bone folders and clear blocks. You'll see the clear block in a second, or actually probably in several minutes. Super exciting. I've been making basically everything I see. I'm like, ooh, can I engrave that? Ooh, can I engrave that? And the answer is usually yes. Yes, I can engrave that. I haven't done my scissors yet because in order to engrave on the metal, it's actually not engraving. I need to get like a paint that the laser puts the paint on it. But then once I've got that, I'm going to put my name on there. All right, so now you can see how this box goes together. Now, with the tabs the way they are, if you were a little bit off, they'll show. So what I like to do is I like to cut these to be a little bit more forgiving. So I'm just going to cut the triangles out of the outside so that if I mucked it up and I didn't measure or score or cut or fold something exactly perfect, it doesn't matter. Alrighty. And then with boxes, you always want to use super sturdy adhesive. So I am a huge fan of Tear and Tape because it's awesome and it's easy and you really can't go wrong. As long as you don't tape onto things you don't need to tape onto, that is. So I'm just putting a little bit of Tear and Tape on each little edge here. And then I'm going to peel this up. So the reason why I picked this designer series paper, and it is specialty designer series paper because it's all like that heavier with the foil and it's oh so pretty, is that I used it for the first time for my Stampin' Around the World project. So I took it out and I loved it, and the 3 colors, can anyone guess what the 3 colors are? Does anybody know? But the 3 colors are like 3 of my favorites, despite what I've been telling Kara that I love all colors. Those 3 really are very pretty. But then if I look at different colors, I think that those are my favorites, so shh. All right, so now I'm gonna line up that corner. And because I've cut that triangle, it doesn't really matter where I put it as long as the edge lines up. I'm not gonna get any little weirdness sticking up here. Alrighty. So there is the lid of my box. Okay, onto the box. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. I'm going to trim the corners, and I could do this on my paper cutter. I would probably get straighter edges if I did it on my paper cutter, but I put it away already. And I have scissors in my hand, so I'm just going to cut them with my scissors. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the little triangles. There we go. And I'm going to cut across the outside corner here. And this doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be precise. Remember, that's going to be the inside of your box. So it's actually going to be covered up once this is all said and done. Alrighty, on to folding. I want to fold all of these score lines in. Whenever you're folding something on a score line, you want to use a bone folder to burnish it. It just makes those folds crisper. It helps cards stand up. It helps your 3D projects be a little bit more precise. It's just all around goodness. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with the Tear and Tape. Now this one, because these flaps are bigger, I'm actually going to attach a little bit of Tear and Tape on this edge too, just so that those flaps don't go flapping in the wind. Alrighty. Slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. Airplane, anyone? Squirrels. Come on, you guys gotta talk to me, because otherwise I'm talking to myself, and that's just embarrassing. I go on wild squirrel chasing tangents. Okay. Here's the first corner. So we're going to line that up. And the next one. And then we're just going to go all the way around. So again, you can make this any size you want. And if you need to draw yourself the picture, you can do that. No shame in making a plan. In fact, you're probably going to get way better results and waste less material if you make yourself a plan ahead of time. Because if you wanted this box narrower or taller or shorter and flatter, anything like that, you can do it. It's totally possible. You just need to figure out your measurements and plan ahead of time. Now sometimes when you have like flatter boxes where one side is significantly shorter than the other, you may need to take these triangles. See how in here the triangles like meet up perfectly? If say one of these sides was shorter, you may actually have to cut this tab shorter, but that's okay, that's possible. And then our lid fits on there beautifully. Okay, on to the next little part of this project. Okay, first I'm going to do a bit of stamping. Oops, my head just hit the, that's not right. I need a scrap piece of cardstock. You would not think that that's so hard to come by. There we go. No, I wanted white. That's vanilla. Oh, come on. I had a whole whack of them here. Alrighty, that'll work. And then I needed a punch. I wanted to use the Timeless Label punch here, and I think this is big enough, just barely. There we go. Alrighty. And then I've got my pretty peacock ink pad, and I've got this little For You, and I'm going to put it on, put it upside down, but see my clear block has my name on it. So you guys can't steal them. We're in Word Events together. I'm just very excited about my engraver. I did a whole set of clear blocks for myself. Okay. There we go. So now I've got a little tag, but we need a bow. And this is why I busted out the ribbon. So I could just do a bow, but I wanted to try something. So this is just my regular little bunny bow that I could do, but I wanted to try something a bit different. Now, I don't know the measurements for this. I am making this up as we go along. First of all, I want a straight edge on the end there. Okay. I'm going to do 8 inches, and I'm going to do that twice, I think. And then I'm going to do 6 inches, and I'm going to do that twice. Does anybody know where I'm going with this? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? It is definitely movie quote week. Okay, so each of these I'm going to turn into a loop. Now I'm going to make this easy on myself, and I can use glue dots. All about making life easy for myself. Alrighty, so we're going to make a loop out of my smallest piece of ribbon, and this is just a 2-inch piece. And then I'm going to make a loop out of all my other little pieces here. I may have made that smallest one too small. Has anybody done this before? Do you recognize what I'm doing? I've never done this before. I'm totally trying this live for the first time. I don't know if that was a good idea or a bad one. I guess we'll find out. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. And I'm not sure I'm crazy about the colors. I should have done the ribbon the other way. Oh, I can still do the ribbon the other way. Look at me. I'm too funny. I crack myself up. I can just turn it inside out because then the color is better. No idea what I'm doing. Really? Any clues? So many loops. It's going to make sense in a minute, I hope. Okay. So I've got my 2 biggest loops, I'm going to smush them in half. And I'm going to put them like that. Then I'm going to take my stapler. Now I still have this Stampin' Up! Mini stapler, but you can use any stapler for this. And staple it in the middle. Then I'm going to take those bows and I'm going to add those to the pile. And then I'm going to add these loops. Now I think I could have done a little bit of a better job with the sizing. Maybe I should have done it in 1-inch increments instead of 2-inch increments. But you're still getting the gist. I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit more, I think, and to get it right. And then we've got this last little one here that I'm just gonna do with the glue dot because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the stapler in there. Alrighty, so there we have a pretty little bow, and I'm going to add in this little Made With You charm because it was sitting on my desk and I felt I needed it. Over and over, back and forth. Yes, exactly. You got it, Sue. Alright, so we're going to do the little Made With You charm. We'll attach that to the bottom of, or Made With Love, not Made For You. Herp. Herp derp. But basically that was a gift bow. I'm gonna play with that. I'll be back with that. It's something that I kind of just discovered online. I know people have been doing them for a really long time. I'd never done them before, so I wanted to try it. I think it needs more layers and maybe doing it in 1-inch length increments instead of I did them in 2-inch. So I started with my longest one was 8 inches and then 6 inches and then 4 inches and 2 inches. I think I might need to do it in like 8, 7, 6, like that. Okay, and then this we're gonna pop on there with some dimensionals because they're easier to stick sometimes. And then make life a little bit easier for myself and take that off. Now this little charm is going to drive me crazy, so I'm actually going to stick that down with a glue dot so that it stops flubbling along. Okay, oh, and my whole thing is coming apart here. Okay, glue dots to the rescue, glue dots to the rescue. There we go. All right, we need to do a little bit of resuscitation on my bow, but you get the idea. My staples are falling apart is the problem. Maybe I need to use a regular stapler because, anyways. Alrighty, there we go. That's my little box with a bow that is going to get worked on. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Draw yourself a plan. This is why we have grid paper or scrap paper or the back of designer series paper, whatever you want, so that you can get your sizes right and then everything will fit and you'll have a lid that's not too tight, that fits onto your box. There we are. Happy stamping. I will be back on Tuesday. Now I do have company coming on Tuesday, so I may or may not be live and you may or may not get to meet my mom. All right, have fun. Oh, and if you need any of this stuff, thecraftymedic.com, that's where I'm at. Shop now link, there's a host code, and I have a new link up along the top where you can get custom engraved clear blocks like that, or your bone folders like that. So fancy. All right, have fun. Bye.